Good morning, everyone. Chris here. I was just thinking about some exciting news. One, it took Ryan about 30 hours to land a job in Provincetown. He went for a walk, came back with one job and one job interview. So he starts tomorrow at one job. He's going to be a dishwasher with possibilities of doing some prep cooking. $18 an hour is pretty freaking rad. And then the second, so he goes there today, and then he has a job interview tomorrow for a prep cook position at a different restaurant. And so last night he spent sharpening his knives, which was pretty cool. Good to see him back in the fray. Anyway, the other thing is today really demonstrates an important thing about one, where we are specifically, and about our dinghy. I don't know if you noticed, but there's the camera doesn't really pick it up, but there's a little bit of a chop out there. You can see some of the little baby waves are having little baby breaks. Not a big deal for most dinghies, but our dinghy is a super slow dinghy. You can see she's got that little tiny trawling motor on there. It's great to always have a full tank of fuel, but that little trawling motor works out to be about 0.8 horsepower, which makes me glad about one thing, and that is how close we are to shore. So there are a couple of places you can take the dinghy in Provincetown. Obviously there's the town dinghy dock, which is about a mile that way, and not a big deal to get there. The wind is blowing that way, but coming back with just about a horse, it takes about half an hour to do the run. And then when the wind is blowing, that half an hour can jump to 45 minutes or even an hour. It's bad. So that's why we like to use Captain Jack's, which is right here. Let's zoom in. All right, Captain Jack's is over there. So there he is, Captain Jack's Wharf. And the only downside with this is that Captain Jack's Wharf, you can see the little tiny dock there. That floating dock sits on the sand at low tide. So you have to plan ahead. Luckily, Ryan doesn't need to be at work until 3, and the dock will be floating by 2, which will be plenty for us. So we'll just zip over there. That's like I don't know what it is. I think it's like a quarter of a mile. So significantly shorter run than going all the way to the town dock. But the town dock has trash cans and water and the harbor master's office and all kinds of stuff, like if we need to do things like that. It's also a lot closer to the mail spot if we're going to get like big heavy things. But Captain Jack's is closer to the grocery store, which is a double win for me. But I'm excited because on July 1st we're putting in our order for a new motor. We're going to get so the dinghy, all the little boats have the little placard that say maximum number of people, maximum number of weight, and maximum strength of the engine that the dinghy can handle before like you sink the darn thing. This one is spec'd out for a 3 horsepower motor, so we're getting a 3 horsepower motor, and I'm going to stick with electric. So we're going to get a big honk. Where'd she go? There she is. We're going to go with a big honkin' battery and a big honkin' 3 horsepower motor, which will hopefully make days like this when it's blowing 20 knots a little easier to handle dinghy-wise, because I want to make sure I can get these boys to shore so they can go to work, and it'll be nice to like have some more speed, because I definitely love the setup we have now. If nobody was working, or it was more flexible, then I would stick with this. But I definitely want to make sure that these kids can get to work on time in any sort of weather. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work myself. I'm grading final projects in one of my classes, and I've got other stuff, and then I have a meeting in half an hour, so it's going to be a busy day. And then we'll do lunch, and then I will head to shore, take that kid to work, and then I'll probably come back to the boat and do work while I wait for him to call and say he's done, because it says orientation day, so we're not sure if they're going to do orientation and send him home, or do orientation and then send him to work. So he could get out anytime. It's 3 o'clock. He could be an hour, and then he's done, or he could be working until midnight. So I don't want to like wait around for all of that. Anyway, I'm also admiring my plants because we got the new irrigation system up, which is nice. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm just excited about the new motor. actually good. So I was supposed to do that last summer, but I didn't get around to it. So yeah. Jobs and dinghy rides and all that jazz. And not a lot of... The wind is really blowing here. Let's jump out of the protection. So it's relatively flat, but can you see? There we go. Little tiny breaking waves, not a whole lot. It helps that there's land right there where the cape sort of goes around. So just a random update. Anyway, I will chat with you later. Bye.